with Senator Parker.
I'd actually like to yield my time to the audience and let them ask me questions. I have no questions for my opponents.
Councilmember Stewart.
I have a question for Senator Parker and also a question for my colleague, council member of Felder. I will ask Council Member Felder's question first. And I was scared trying to make some notes. Council Member Felder, I guess this may be the first time you're coming over the side of Brooklyn, right? However, I want to ask, what promises did the Republican Mayor Mike Bloomberg made to you, just a supposed Democrat, to get into this race? And do you think that Caribbean people can be bought?
I just want to know whether that was 3 questions, 2 questions, or 1 question. Do I get to choose the question I want to ask?
You can choose the question.
No, I don't mind answering all 3. I will.
By all means, do so.
Okay. And I just want to know, is there a time limit on my response?
Yes, there is.
How much time do I have?
1.5 minutes, but we'll give you an extra 30 seconds. Beginning now.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Stewart. And let me say to you that I don't believe that anyone should be bought. Anyone should be bought. But I am not embarrassed at all to have the support of Mayor Bloomberg, who has taken the city on September 11th during the worst times, practically, certainly in my life, and brought it back to a point where we are doing better even during difficult times. Second of all, I haven't gotten any promises, but if I did, I certainly wouldn't be telling you. And finally, okay, about Brooklyn, this side of Brooklyn. How many years have you been living in Brooklyn, Dr. Stewart?
Mr. Felder, Councilmember Felder is actually allowed a question. I don't know if we should consider that to be a discussion. Councilmember Felder. Dr. Stewart to Senator Parker.
Kevin Parker. We understand that the reason why you never turned up to vote for it 323 times last year was because you were reportedly taking anger management classes. Yet you resorted to violent and angry language while threatening a concept producer at Borough President Margaret's wicked concept last week. Just hear the question. Yet you resorted to violent and anger language while threatening a concert producer at Borough President Margaret's Wingate concert series on August 11th, just about 2 weeks ago. What guarantees can we, the people, have so that we don't have this as an embarrassing behavior that you will stop?
Thank you very much for the question. My opponent has been walking around talking about these 323 votes. So just so everybody understand how things operate in Albany, a vote is not one session day. A vote is every time they bring up a bill. You may have 50 to 100 votes in a day. So to miss 300 votes, particularly at the end of session in June, I missed these votes, and I actually did probably miss around that many. Was actually in 2007 when my father died. And so I'm glad that my opponent really took something that was the most painful thing that happened in my life and tried to use it as a political football. But the reality is that's when I missed the days. You want to check the legislative record. call Steve Bogetz and find out when the days were missed. So it was between then and this year when actually my uncle died and they buried him on the same day that my father died. And so if you want to look at when the days were missed, that's when I missed the days. And it was 1 week and then 1 day in the following year. As it relates to my celebrated anger problem, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Being angry is not against the law, Dr. Stewart, but having a slush fund where your staff is stealing the money, however, that is against the law. And the reality is I am a fighter. I am a fighter. I fought for education to make sure the campaign for fiscal equity lawsuit was dealt with. I fought to make sure that the minimum wage was raised in the state. I fought to make sure that young people had access to education. I fought to make sure that health care was dealt with. I fought to make sure that transportation dollars stayed here. So I'm going to continue to fight for you if you send me back to the state senate. Thank you.
And now we move